So for step 15, the rear uprights. Well, we need to grab the two upright pieces off the parts tree. Then we've got our drive cups, joints that are going to have to go in. And then these MA7s are going to be replaced with the full ball bearings. So I won't be greasing them as you see here because of the bearings. And then we've got these ball connectors that we need to attach using the box wrench. So there are the two uprights that we need, the two drive joints, and then there's our ball connectors, the bearings, and these snap pins. So I'll set this up and we'll put this together. So first off, let's work on this side. So you can see that this is the direction of that piece. So we're going to grab our ball connector and I'm going to put it into the box wrench right away, and it's going to go at this top, I guess the highest piece right here. And I use the box wrench first because it helps to get the alignment correct, and you can see I've pretty much got it where it needs to be. So I can start screwing this in. And we'll take it all the way to the end. There we go. And again, because we're going into hard plastic, as soon as you get to the end, you're going to know, because it can't really screw in any more than that. Don't over tighten it, because if you did, you may strip it out. But for the most part, going into the harder plastic, you should have a natural end point. So that part is done. So now we're going to take one of the bearings, pop it in on the back side there. We're going to take the other bearing, pop it in on the front, just like that. Then we're going to take one of our drive joints, put that into there, and then you can see that they're telling you to use a snap pin like that just to hold everything together. And that will be temporary. That's not permanent. But there we go. There's one of our drive or our uprights complete. So we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So again, we're going to take our ball connector, highest point. I'm going to try and level that out as much as possible. And it looks like that's going in correct. So we'll continue to screw this in all the way. There we go. I'm at the end. So again, gonna take our bearing, pop that in. Where's one? Turn it around, pop that bearing in. That one actually went in quite easily. And then we're gonna take our drive joint, put that through there, and again, use another pin and lock it into place. So that is it for step 15. So there are our uprights. So now we're going to move on to step 16 and attach the rear uprights. So for step 16, attaching the rear uprights. Well, you can see that the uprights are going to be attached to the chassis. We've got the joints to go into the gearbox and get the drive shafts in there, grease them up, and the O-ring. And we're going to do that on both sides. So there are the screws and the O-rings. And then on this side, there's our joints, the drive shafts, and these little plastic pieces, which you can see are going to attach to those P7 pieces that we put in earlier, and then attach with the screws. So I'll set this up and we'll put these on. So let's start with this side first. And you can see that for the joints, we're just going to need to put those into the gearbox. Now they show that being greased up. I'm not going to do that because obviously I did put the ball bearings in here. So I'm just going to slide those into place. Might as well do the other side just because. So now they're both in there correctly. So now what we're going to do is we need to grease up the O-ring, and I'll grab one of these O-rings here. We're going to grease this up, and it's a bit messy, but I don't mind. Grease this up as much as I can here. And then that is going to go into our upright. And remember, the way this is going, you've got to grab this upright with the ball pointing forward. That is going to go in there. Now, I am going to grab a drive shaft and we're going to grease this up too. So we'll do this, grease up all the points of contact here. And same thing on the other side. They're really short drive shafts. There we go. And on this side, you can see that we put that O-ring down there. Now I've got to get it down there. And what I'm hoping for is that the drive shaft will help put that into place. Well, you can see it's sticking on the end of the drive shaft. So it is in the right spot. So now with this, we've got one end in, we'll put the other in. So you can see that is going to slide into there. And then we've got the end, it's going to go into the hole, the P7 piece, and then the P7 piece is going to sit on top of that. So ultimately, that is what it should look like. So just because we're at the top, and this is probably the easiest thing to work on at this point, is we've got the plastic piece that has to sit on there first. And then we have one of the screws to go in. So if I just move that over and put it in, I'll grab the screwdriver and we'll screw this into place. And you'll know when you're at the end, and you can see, feel how that's going to go. So the next thing is, since we're working on that same side, I'm going to flip this over and we're going to work on the other side. So we're going to grab one of the plastic pieces here, stick that through, and now it's going to attach to that side. Now with this one, I'm going to have to hold it differently because obviously you don't have a firm hold on it. Because when it's the other way, it was easier to get it in. We're going to stick that in. And get the screwdriver. And in fact, I might even hold it this way, which I think is going to be easier to do. And there we go, we're at the end. So there is our rear upright in place. And it's interesting design because you can see that it's sort of off center. So the upright itself sits slanted backwards slightly. Interesting. Okay, so let's do the other side. So again, same thing as before. Let's grease up our O-ring. Mush that around. And that's going to go into our upright. And then we're going to grab our drive shaft. We're going to grease that up again. Turn it around, grease that up. Okay, and now that's going to go in down there, and we'll get our drive shaft into the joint in the chassis, put that lower piece into the P7 piece, and then the top P7 is going to sit right there on the top. Now I'm just going to wipe my hands down because that grease is making everything super slippy. And we're going to do the same thing that we did before. So I'm going to grab one of the black little pieces here. We're going to put that onto the screw. And you can see that in terms of how this is going to go, we need to get that into there. It is on a slight angle. So we will screw this into place. And I can go all the way with this. There we go. And now we're going to flip this over, do the exact same thing on the other side. Oops, the screw has shifted. Where did the screw go? There it is. And we're going to take this piece, the screw, put that on there, and put that there. And again, I'm going to flip this on its side now because it's going to be easier to get this in. And we'll screw this in. And you can go pretty much all the way. And I'll do one last check on this side just because. Yep. So there we go. There are our our rear uprights in place and ready to go. So that is step 16. So now we're going to move on to step 17 and attach the rear bumper.